Hello and welcome to the Archer Services team. Today you will be listening to and watching a training video for our lawn maintenance truck. Our goal at Archer Services is to provide the best services available to our customers in town. By reading and using all of the tools in this manual, you will be the best of the best. In our area, we have hundreds of companies competing for the same work as us. We feel that because of the quality of our team members and the knowledge and experience of our owners and managing staff, we have no competition because we are the best. Since we offer that high level of quality and we attract the best customers, we can keep you busy all summer and especially winter long. Quality and efficiency are the key to this. Archer Services is committed to taking excellent care of its team members so that in turn you will take great care of your customers. As you read through this manual, it may begin to seem like these are simple and obvious things, but take the time to read through them all so that they will be a routine and automatic for you. Our pay and bonuses. We pay an hourly rate and we pay regular time for the first 40 hours and overtime, which is time and a half for anything over 40 hours. After 1 year of employment, we offer 40 hours of paid time off. You can use this at any time of the year that you would like to take a vacation, or we recommend to our guys that they save them for rain days so that if we have multiple rain days in a row, they can use one or multiple of their paid time off days to help keep their check at a good rate. We provide 3 pairs of pants, 1 pair of boots, and 5 shirts. The shirts and shoes replace every year and the pants every 3 years. We have 3 paid holidays: Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day. We also pay out a $300 bonus for bringing in new employees whenever we are looking for them. This is paid $100 immediately and then $200 after 1 month of the employee being here. We also have workman's comp, and we give out a Christmas bonus at the end of the year. We also have an Employee of the Month program, gets a bonus of $200 and 1 month of free break room. Customers love friendly workers. If you are friendly to a customer and they like you, when you make a mistake, they will be much more understanding. I have made some major mistakes with some of our yards, but because I was friendly to the customer and built a relationship with them, they were very understanding and the problem was much easier to resolve. I have built relationships with some of our customers to the point where they would give me gifts on Christmas, others would give me tips, and some would bring out food and drink. When you are friendly with a customer, it will make your work much easier. Here are several points on how to be friendly. Whenever on a job site, always be sure and say hello to any customers that are out on their property. Always wave to a customer. Be sure and never ignore the customer. This might give the customer the impression that you don't want to be there and that you don't want to be working on their property. You should enjoy your job and want to be out there working on the property and working for the customer. If you talk to the customer, make sure and ask them how they are doing. Ask them if everything on the property looks good or if there's anything else that they need us to take care of. Quality weed eating and edging. Remember, the purpose of this manual is to train you to be the best of the best in lawn maintenance. Weed eating. Many times there will be kids' play equipment in the backyard. It is important to weed eat all around it, inside it, and under all parts of the equipment. But also be careful not to damage the play equipment or anything else on the property. You can see in this picture here that there is grass growing up under the slide. This can be difficult to get to with the weed eater, but we need to be sure and get it. Otherwise, it will begin to grow out from under the slide and be a nuisance to the homeowner. Here is an example of the guys doing a good job getting around the play equipment. The only thing wrong with this picture is that they have weed eated too low in some of these areas, causing the grass not to grow. As you can tell in this picture, the guys did not move the trash can while mowing. So when the customer moves them, they will have grass sticking up in the yard, as if we just totally skip an area. The guys did a good job moving the trash cans and getting under them in this picture. You can see once the trash can is moved, there is no grass sticking up. It is important to move all trash cans and weed eat under and around them. This here is a complete neglect of not getting around the trash cans. When the customer moves these trash cans on trash day, they will see lots of grass growing up near the fence. Over here is another bad example of weed eating. Now this is a spot where you can use Roundup to spray around the gutters and pipes. Never use Roundup where you can use a weed eater without tearing up anything. As you can see in this picture, we have lots of pipes for pool equipment, so we don't want to be weed eating on those weekly. It may cause them to break. They did a good job here, again, moving the trash can. There will be some houses that have bushes that have grown over the edging or that do not have any edging at all. This is very important to get under these bushes and weed eat the grass. At a lot of homes, you will find plants that grow over the edging. Make sure you weed eat under them and to the edging. You can see here that there is grass. Anyone driving by on the street will be able to see underneath these plants and see that we just totally skipped this. And so the view for potential customers driving by will not be a good one. This is another case of not weed eating all the way to the edging. This is very noticeable from the street. Another example, this picture letting you know so you can go back and fix them. A lot of mistakes like these can be avoided if you check your work before you leave the property. Also, it helps to make sure and work as a team so that the guys on the mowers can help let you know if you missed a spot that you might not be able to see as you're moving along these shrubs. When weed eating around gutters, it is important that you do not tear them up with the weed eater. Want to get around them. Just be careful not to dent them up. Sometimes you may have to reach down and pull a strand of grass or weed. When weeding around gutters, it is important that you do not tear them up with the weed eater. You still want to get around them. Just be careful not to dent them up. Sometimes you may have to reach down and pull a strand of grass or weed eat into the dirt, as you can see here. Weed eating edging around this area to be sure and get all the grass and keeping it from growing up onto the concrete there. You can see these gutters are all dented. Here is a case where the weed eater has torn up the gutter. There's probably a big enough gap under the gutter to where this could have been avoided. See, the edge there is all torn up. Always be careful not to dent the gutters with your equipment. Looks like a mower tire probably hit the gutter there. This is another bad example where the end is caved in. Here is another example where it's ripped open by the weed eater trying to get under there. These areas can be sprayed with weed spray. If we do too much damage to the gutters, the homeowners will come after us to repair these gutters, which will cost us money. We cannot have that happening. Here is a case where it is impossible to get behind the gutter with a weed eater without messing it up. There is two things you can do here. Hand pull the grass or spray Roundup. Only in the spots where you cannot get it with the weed eater. When spraying Roundup, do not let it drift into other areas. So you need to be careful not to just spray Roundup all over out here and cause it to kill all this grass here. Spray it just where the pipes and gutters are, and it does not take much to kill the grass. There's probably enough room where you can get behind the gutter without hitting them or spraying Roundup. Do not tear up the gutter like in this picture. When weed eating around objects, you want to make sure that you do not weed eat into the dirt. It is important that grass grows all the way to the object. You want to stay level with the mower where you are weed eating. This is an example of weed eating too low and killing the grass. Along the house here, you can see the grass grass is all dead, it is important to keep the weed eater up high so that there is enough grass there to hold the moisture in the ground during the summer months when it gets extremely hot. This concrete will also heat up, amplifying the dead area and causing that grass to die. This is a perfect angle for the weed eater. This is a good example of weed eating at the right height. You can see the grass stays level all the way across here. It's good and green all the way up to the concrete. It's not brown and scalped down along the house. This grass will not burn up during the summer months. Notice the dirt that is exposed around the box. When weed eating boxes like these, you need to weed eat like you were edging a sidewalk, straight up and down so that you do not expose the dirt. In this picture, you can tell the guys are just sticking the weed eater down against the box flat and just edging out a giant circle that does not match this box. This will cause the box and the dirt to stick out like a sore thumb to any clients that might be coming by and looking at the quality of our work to see if they want to hire us. This is a good example of how you need to weed eat. Again, you can see all the way along the stone here, the grass stays the same color and the same level all the way up to the stone, and they also got all the little pieces, even out of these two little indentions here, where grass tends to be sticking up, and it is very noticeable against the different colored stone. Do not ever let this happen at a house. You can see week after week the guys have weed eated around this stop sign all the way down to the dirt, and now there is no grass there, and it will take a long time for this to be repaired. You want the grass to grow all the way up to the pole like you see in this picture here. This stop sign looks very good. When you are mowing a yard, there are many times that the mowers will miss spots. Grass will be sticking up, they will not get close enough to the fence or some object, leaving uneven grass. It is important that you catch these and smooth the grass out with your weed eater or have the mowers redo the area. Again, teamwork is key here. Lawnmower guys need to be sure and let you know if there's an area that was uneven and they could not get it to smooth out with the machine so that you can go by and just touch it up real quick. Here is a bad example. You can see they obviously missed a strip here. Here's another bad example. Sometimes there's weeds in the yard that do not cut well with the mower, and they might take an extra pass or have to slow the mower down a little bit to catch everything. Another bad example, more weeds sticking up. Looks like here they missed a little section of grass out in the middle of the yard. Again, another small section of the yard. Like I said, when a potential customer is driving by, they will usually have a lower look at the property and looking straight across it, and they will see every detail on a property. It needs to look like a tabletop. You must fix it. With some yards, you will find that there will be many uneven spots in the yard. What usually happens when the mowers go over these spots, they will leave rings in the yard or an uneven cutting height. It is important that you smooth these areas out. These are all bad examples. This is what not to do. You can smooth these out with the weed eater, but it still will not look very good. It will look bad, but not as noticeable. This is something that you will need to catch and get your team member or yourself to adjust the height or adjust where you are placing the wheels of the mower so this does not happen. Some houses will not have edging around the flower beds. When this is the case, it is important that you edge them with the weed eater. When you do this, edge with a slight angle and dig into the dirt with the weed eater. This is important so that you do not let grass into the bed. Here you can see a bunch of grass going into the beds, and there is no clear line around the bed. Another bad example, there is no clear line along the bed. Another one, no clear line. Another one, very uneven and just hitting all over the place. Here is a good example of a yard. We have an extremely clear line all the way around, nice and levelly cut with the mower. No brown spots, cut very well. It is a nuisance to cut some of these because there's a lot of debris and mulch in the beds. That is why it is important to make sure that you wear safety glasses so that you can really crank that weed eater up and dig a good edge and maintain that edge week after week. At every house, you will find grass growing in the crack in the concrete. This is something that you must watch for and weed eat them every time. Turning the weed eater on its side and digging into the crack is the best way to take care of it. You can see all of these are bad examples. The entire property is being maintained. We are not only maintaining the lawn, we are maintaining all of the yard, the sidewalks, the driveway, the pool deck, up against the house. All of this must be maintained. This is not the job of the homeowner to take care of. We need to weed eat them and spray them with Roundup. If you leave stuff like this, customers will get angry and they will give us bad reviews for the whole world to see and not hire us. Some houses will have retaining walls. It is important to weed eat the top of the retaining wall. In all of these pictures, except 2, you could use Roundup in. If the customer has created a flower bed in the gap, do not weed eat or spray Roundup. You can see here, here, and here, and here, all of these need to be weed eated. This one, and this one, and this one could be sprayed with some Roundup to help keep it under control, and then hit with the weed eater on a weekly basis to keep weeds down. This spot here needs to be cut as if it were the lawn. It is too big to spray with Roundup. We will end up with erosion in this area. These are all worthless examples of a finished product for a customer. In this picture here, the homeowner has obviously installed a landscape bed at the top of the retaining wall. This does not need to be weeded, but if we have grass growing out of cracks in the wall, we need to knock them down. This is a good job. Very clean, leaving the grass high enough so that we don't get erosion and die off. Here's another bad example. We have grass growing out over the wall. Again here, grass growing out from all the cracks and out from the wall. This must be taken care of to leave a clean property. There will also be homes that have retaining, like I said, grass growing out from cracks up high. Make sure that when you are working a property, don't only look down at the ground. Look up when you're walking through the property so you can catch things that look terrible and you can clean them up. This is very common. A lot of homeowners will place a makeshift rot board down along the bottom of the fence to keep it from rotting or tearing up from the weeder. Grass will grow in behind that board. It is difficult and does take extra time to get it out of there, but we can also spray just behind the board there with Roundup. This is a good example of weed eating along a difficult retaining or stone wall. As you can see here, there is lots of little spaces and cracks where grass would be growing in. If you just fly by this wall really quick, you will leave grass growing all up in these cracks and it will look terrible. Notice how clean and beautiful this wall looks. The homeowner paid a lot of money for this wall and they want it to look as good as it can. When weeding along steps, it is important to make sure that you do not create a large gap between the concrete and the grass. You want to have the grass growing all the way up to the concrete. Here is a bad example. When you weed eat too low, it kills the grass, causing the dirt to wash away when it rains. Causing this is unacceptable. This is a good example. You can see the grass is very close to the curb, all the way down. The grass is green and full, no brown spots, nowhere for it to wash out. This is just a little too far from the concrete. try and keep it closer to the steps. Again, just a little too far. Water will get down into these spaces and begin eroding, and after several months, we will end up with the grass coming way back and looking like the first picture. Notice that they have weed eated too low here, which will cause the grass to die and the dirt to wash away. Right in here and right in here, you can see it's browning out. We don't want to see brown when we cut the grass. We want it to be green and lush. Notice how the edge line is straight and then it curves out at the step. This is a bad example of edging. You want it to go straight down the sidewalk. You can see the dirt on the concrete in this picture. This is caused by weeding too large of a gap between the grass and concrete. When this happens, it kills the grass, and then there is nothing to hold the dirt in place, causing large holes. Always watch out for all irrigation and utility boxes. When weeding rectangle boxes in the ground, make sure to turn your weed eater on its side and edge like you would edge the sidewalks. When weeding around boxes, try to keep the circle as small as possible. We also need to make sure and watch out for drain boxes. Those are extremely important. If those drain boxes get covered up with grass and are no longer functional, then when we get a really big rain and the homeowner's house floods because their drainage was clogged up with grass, that will be our fault. We must keep everything clear. These boxes are also important so that if they need to be repaired because something goes out inside those boxes, they need to be able to find them. If they can't find them, it will cost them additional money from an irrigation or water company to locate these boxes, which they will ask us to pay for. This is a bad example. Here shortly, these boxes will be completely covered and we will not be able to find them. When edging boxes like these, turn your weed eater again on its side and edge like you would sidewalks. If you do this, you will not expose the dirt, which is a good thing. This box should look like you just edged the sidewalk. Notice the uneven lines all the way around, rounded corner here. It just doesn't look good. Bad example, again, this box is becoming covered up. As of now, it is very difficult to open this box because the edge of the box is about 2 or 3 inches inside the overgrown grass. Eventually, this box will be completely covered in grass. Many times there will be different kinds of objects in the yard, like toys, hose reels, trash cans, trampolines, benches, hoses, and etc. Depending on the size of the object, like smaller things, you can move them. The larger objects, you may have to weed eat around them or under them. Always remember to put things like trampolines, benches, hose reels, and etc. back where they were in the yard. The guys did a good job moving the glass and get behind it. The only thing here is that the grass is weeded too low along the fence. This is a good job. The only thing I see here is a little grass sticking up by the back left leg along the house there. This looks awful. In a case like this, you would need to do a better job getting around this, and then in the spots where you cannot get, like the top and back, you can spray Roundup. We would need to either spray Roundup in this area and keep it cleaned up, pull the grass out by hand, or go in there and remove a lot of these bricks and clean it up so that we can weed eat along there. This is the last one here. It is pathetic. This is called laziness. Make sure you move things like this and weed eat behind them. This would take less than a half a second and zero effort to move this little tiny stuffed animal and weed eat behind it. Another example I have seen before is a newspaper laying in the middle of the yard that literally got mowed around instead of giving it a quick kick of the foot and mowing over that spot. No one will ever hire us if they see things like this. When you have a water hose reel, it's best to move it so you can get all the way around it. If you go under there with the weed eater week after week, you will begin to cut these legs off of this hose reel. Bad example again. You must try harder than this. The other thing that you will have to deal with is pipes, wires, hoses, and etc. connected to or coming from the house. It is very important that you slow your weeder down so that you do not cut the wires or break the pipes. It is very important. With hoses on the house, sometimes you can lift them up with your foot and get under them without having to wind up the hose. But if it is necessary to wind up the hose and set it aside, go ahead and take the time to do so. And then that way you will not have to spend extra time trying to weed eat around it and doing a poor job week after week. Always be very careful when weeding around wires so that you do not cut them. Notice that they miss some grass against the house brick around this wire. If it is a constant problem and there is wire in the way and you are worried that you are going to cut it, let your manager know so that he can speak with the homeowner and have the wire fixed so that it is not in your way. They have done a good job getting around the pipes in this spot. The only thing is they have weed eated too low, again exposing the dirt. If you end up cutting a wire for an internet connection at a house, there might be a homeowner that works from home at that house and they will be extremely angry, and you could even cost them money because they cannot get online and do their work. They will be very angry. Also, weed eating around PVC pipes week after week will cause them to break and cause a major water leak. Good job here. This is a case where you can use Roundup around the pipes and wires so that you do not have to break them. Another great example. You can see the guys have taken their time to be gentle and weed eat along these wires and the pipe, not breaking them or damaging them, but still getting all of the grass. This is not acceptable. You can use Roundup here so that you do not break the pipes. Again, use Roundup around these pool pipes. Do not break them and do not leave grass sticking up behind them. They are paying us to make their properties look good. Bad example again. They have weed eated too hard around these wires and pipes and are beginning to break them. You will have to move the hose in this picture so that you can get behind it. Do not spray Roundup in the case of water hoses. If you were to just wind this up on the wall so it was above the grass, it will stay like that for several weeks and you will be able to do good around there. Do not break pipes. This is a mixture of needing to do a better weed eating job and needing to spray Roundup. Notice the grass sticking up in this picture behind the hose and concrete, and you can also see a damaged gutter. Another bad example, and another. Go the extra mile. It's never crowded. Another thing that you need to remember is to get behind the AC units. You must be careful not to tear any of the insulation on the pipes or cut any of the wires. Sometimes you will not be able to get all of the grass. In that case, you can spray Roundup behind the AC unit. AC units are fragile. They have very tiny wires leading to them and also must not damage the pipes, causing leaks that are expensive to fix. These are very expensive pieces of machinery on the outside of customers' houses. Sometimes you will have grass growing between the slats in the fence. Now you have to be very careful how you take care of this. You can try to weed eat it, but you cannot mark the fence up. If the grass is coming through the fence, sometimes you will have grass growing between the slats in the fence. Now you have to be very careful how you take care of this. You can try to weed eat it, but you cannot mark the fence up. If the grass is coming through the fence and the fence is real close to the ground, you can try and get underneath the fence, like in this picture. But whatever you do, you need to make sure that you do it consistent all the way around the property so that it looks even. These are bad examples of weed eating on the fence and marking the fence all up and still having grass growing in there. You need to either hand pull this grass out or spray it with Roundup. In this picture, again, you can see the rot board growing along the fence. In the corner posts as well, we can spray a tiny bit of Roundup so that the weed eater can get all of the grass. These all stick out like a sore thumb to the homeowners. More bad examples. These are terrible, leaving grass growing up all over the fence. This will be left for the homeowner to look at all week long. Edging. We want a smooth cut. Notice how rough the cut is. It needs to be straight and smooth. Lots of little pieces sticking out. This is a good example of a straight, smooth cut. Another bad example. Notice how they took a weed eater and trimmed the edge at an angle. Never do this when the grass is level with the concrete. Again, you can see the brown grass up along the curb. This will cause the grass to die in the heat. You are an artist of the grass. Lines crisp and clean are important. Wavy, jagged lines look like crap. When edging, you do not want a large gap between the grass and the concrete. You do need to edge into the dirt, which is something that they did not do in this picture. Edging all the way down into the dirt gives a very crisp, clean, official line. This is a good example. Here's another bad, uneven example. Bad examples. Weeds left in the cracks. Jagged line. Good straight line, but a little too wide. Very good example here. Another great example. Another good example. Look at how nice and appealing this long, straight, curvy line is. The stick edger must be used on every sidewalk and curb. The stick edger also needs to be held at a straight up and down position. As you can see in this picture here, he is holding the edger at a perfect vertical position. You need to keep a good edger blade on the stick edger at all times, like the one on the left. If you edge with a dull blade, like the one on the right, it will leave grass sticking out and looking bad. This blade here will not get all the way down into the dirt and cut the grass properly. This is unacceptable. The grass needs to be all the way against the concrete. You can see somebody came through here and just demolished this edge. There will be times when the grass is below the concrete. When this happens, you will have to turn the weed eater at an angle and edge without cutting the grass too low. Never do this when the grass is even with the concrete. When it is even with the concrete, you want a good straight up and down cut. Here, they just totally missed the grass in this picture. Here's an example where they turned the weed eater at an angle, but they weed eated too low, and then they missed a spot of grass. This is totally unacceptable. Missed strands. When edging, it is pretty common for the edger to miss strands of grass. It is very important to watch for this so that you can take care of these spots. When the guys are blowing off the concrete, they need to watch for these missed strands and hand pull them. A bad weed eating job is just as bad as a bad haircut. You must keep the bed shapes the same. Do not cause them to change from weed eating. If you weed eat too aggressively and cut way into the grass every single time, you will end up destroying the original design installed in the landscape. The homeowners paid very good money to have their beds cut in a certain pattern. Number 1, this would be the original shape of the homeowner's bed the first day we showed up. A very nice, crisp, clean square with good hard turns. Number 2, this would be several weeks or maybe several months after we have taken over the property. We still have good straight lines, but we have begun to just turn the corner instead of stopping and doing a complete turn and holding that hard corner. Number 3, this could be maybe a year after we have started maintaining this homeowner's property. This bed is completely destroyed. There is not a single original line left in this bed shape. It now looks like a blob laying out in the middle of the yard. The homeowners will want this repaired at our cost. Do not let this happen. Bad examples. You can see lots of grass sticking out. Remember the nice, long, sweeping, curvy, beautiful sidewalk from the picture a few slides back? Compare that to this ugly sidewalk here, where we have grass growing over the sidewalk, destroying our nice visual lines. Bad example, good example. Bad example, bad example. When the dirt level is even with the concrete, make sure that you do not edge at an angle. You want to make sure that the edging is straight up and down, not at an angle. The only time that you will need to edge at an angle is when the dirt is below the concrete. Bad example here. You can see the height of the mower, and then the guys wanted to cut a lot of grass with the weed eater, so they rounded off the edge. Again, good, straight, clean lines. We want it level, not curved. You see again in this picture and in this one, we end up with just a really brown, domed, rounded, not even a real shape on this property. Again, here's another sidewalk. Beautiful, sweeping, great curves, and nice and level, green all the way to the edge. You can see nicely cut out meter boxes. This is a fantastic, very appealing yard that has been completed. Weed eating the top of the edging. Sometimes after the edging is done, some guys will go back over the edging with the weeder and edge the top at an angle. It is a good idea to go back over it because sometimes the top of the edging is uneven or little strands are left. But do not edge at an angle. Make sure it is straight and at the same height as the lawnmower. Quality mowing. When you are mowing, it is very important that you have a smooth cut, having a sharp blade, making sure that your mower is not going too fast, and having a well-maintained mower will help you do this. You will need to watch out for any uneven spots like holes or dips in the lawn that will cause an uneven cut. When the grass is wet or extremely thick, it is possible that the mower will not do a good job cutting the grass. In this case, you may need to go back over the areas that look rough. Straight lines. It is very important that you always go in a straight line. If you do everything like we teach you, but your mowing lines are uneven, it will ruin the appearance of the lawn. Always remember to make sure that they are straight and even with the house. When you finish mowing, make sure that you never cut across the yard in a different direction than what you mowed. If you mowed in a straight line from right to left, when you were done, you cut across the yard at an angle, it will look very bad and show a streak across the yard. Another thing that is very important is to change the direction of the mower every week. If you go in the same direction every week, you will make ruts in the grass, which is not good. You have 4 different directions you can go: left to right, up and down, and then angle your mower left to right, and then the last angle your mower right to left. You can see on these pictures here long, straight, appealing lines. Again, think of a golf course or baseball park or football field. Always nice, beautiful, straight lines. They don't just mow in random patterns all over the place. Do not leave grass uneven. There will be times when the mower misses some grass. When this happens, it is very important that you go back over the area where you missed the grass. Always look back at your work and see if you missed anything before you leave. Sometimes we do have to just take multiple passes or slower the mower down. Poor effort in most of these pictures. Clumps of grass. Sometimes the mower will not properly mulch the grass, leaving clumps of grass on the lawn. In some cases, you will need to go back and redo these spots, or if the clumps are very small, you can blow the grass to clean it up. You will need to be careful with the blower. If you blow the grass real hard, you will cause the grass to stick up, ruining the quality of your work. Okay, I'm redoing this slide here. Clumps of grass. Sometimes the mower will not properly mulch the grass, leaving clumps of grass on the lawn. In some cases, you will need to go back and redo these spots, Or if the clumps are very small, you can lightly blow the grass to clean it up. You will need to be careful with the blower. If you blow the grass real hard, you will cause the grass to stick up, ruining the quality of your work. As you can see here, these are examples of improperly completed properties with clumps of grass left in the lawn. These could easily be lightly blown with the blower, cleaning them up. Here you can see a couple of heavy clumps which will cause the grass underneath to die. Then when we come back next week and mow, there will be a dead spot in the middle of the lawn. Dull blades lead to rough grass. It is important that we make sure and keep our lawnmower blades sharp. We like to sharpen our blades at least once a week. Here is an example of sharp blades. We should have good, clean cuts. You should not be looking at rough, ripped blades of grass. This will cause the lawn to look brown and hazy from a distance. It will also cause insects, diseases, or funguses to come in and take over the lawn, creating a very ugly lawn. Dull blades here in this picture. Again, dull blades. You can see the tips of the grass are shredded. Always make sure to change the blades on your mower every week to help ensure that you get the best cut possible. A sharper blade will save you time because you will not have to go back over your work as much. With some yards, you will find that there will be many uneven spots in the yard. What usually happens when the mowers go over these spots, they will leave rings in the yard or an uneven cutting height. It is important that you smooth these areas out. Scalping the yard. Scalped areas will happen when you have uneven areas, holes in the ground or concrete, when the grass is a lot higher than the concrete or your mower slips off the curb. It is very important to watch for these things and try and avoid scalping the grass. When you have grass that is real high above the sidewalk, you need to put your mower half on the sidewalk and half on the grass. This will help prevent scalping the grass. The wheel on the mower probably fell in the hole in the concrete in this picture, causing the scalped area. Here's our scalped ring. Here's the hole. Tire fell in there and scalped it up. Bad example. They ran the mower right on the curb all the way down this edge, creating a scalped edge. In this case, they should have left one set of wheels in the grass, allowing it to cut even, and then finished it with the weeder. Another bad example. Quality cleanup. A good cleanup job is one of the most important parts of lawn care. No matter how good of a job you do in everything else, if you do a sloppy job cleaning up the property, it will ruin all of your good work. Blowing. One of the top complaints from customers is not doing a good job cleaning the grass off of the concrete and entryways. It is very important to remember to make sure that when you are using the blower that you do a perfect job cleaning all concrete areas, patios, grass on top of the cars, street entryways, edging cracks, utility boxes, and etc. Here is an obvious missed spot. It is very important that you double check your work to make sure that you did not miss anything. Many times when blowing, guys will forget to blow the edging cracks. It is very important to do this. When you blow, make sure that you do not face the tube at the grass, because if you do this, it will cause the grass along the edging to stick up. Face the tube in the direction of the edge line and blow the grass out of the cracks at the same time while you are going down the sidewalk cleaning it. Here is another case of the guys forgetting to blow the grass in the edging cracks. No, 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 no. Make sure and blow off the utility boxes. Sometimes, if you are not careful, you will blow the utility boxes off. Then when you are blowing the sidewalk, you will blow the grass back into the boxes. This must get cleaned up. 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 Leave it clean. Go back over the property once you are done, and if there is just 2 or 3 leaves on it, pick them up by hand and leave it looking perfect. This must get cleaned up. This must get cleaned up. This must get cleaned up. All of the trash in the yard, especially plastic and paper, need to be picked up. That is also a part of our job. Make sure and always blow the dirt and grass from the edging. This looks like it might have been an ant pile along the edging. It is important to blow these off as well. This is just a case of poor workmanship. Always blow off the entire concrete surface. Missed ant pile. Ant piles are very common around here. We must make sure that we go in and get them cleaned up. Sometimes dirt can be washed out onto the concrete. In those instances, you might need to take your foot and scrub down the surface to break up the dirt, and then you can blow it off and make it perfectly clean. Otherwise, the dirt will stay there forever, and that is usually something that the homeowner will leave as a marker to see whether or not we are willing to go the extra mile and make their property look fantastic. Get in the crack. Make sure that when blowing off the curb that you get all of the grass out of the small space between the grass and the concrete. This little space right here and here, right there. Here is a good example. The line is cleaned up perfect all the way down. Notice the missed grass along the curb. This is caused by either the guys not doing a good job blowing along the curb, or they blew it into the street, and when the cars came by, it blew it back. Make sure that neither one of these happen. These are all bad examples. Grass there, grass there, grass there, grass there. This one and this one are in areas where it is not directly along a sidewalk or driveway, but we still need to make sure that we get around to these areas and clean it up. Good job, Jose. Keep it up. You can see he is blowing this driveway off completely. All along there in the small crack, you can see he is making sure that as he goes along, he gets it all cleaned up. And you can see he is getting the grass out of the cut grass out of the grass, and he will get to this area as well. Garages, windows, and doors. When you have wet grass, it will stick to anything that it touches. So try and be careful to keep it off of garage doors, cars, yard decorations, front doors, and etc. Try your best not to blow grass into the corners of the garage door because the grass will end up going through the hole into the garage. This can also happen when blowing against home doors. We have had several homeowners call and say that they have found grass several feet inside their house at the doorways because the guys came in with the blowers and blew directly into the corners and the grass blew into the garage or house. Those blowers are extremely powerful and will drive that debris into the house. Don't upset our customers. Breakage, broken light fixtures, broken sprinkler heads. Anytime that you knock something off, you need to put it back on. Never leave anything that is broken or messed up without fixing it. If it is something that you cannot fix, you need to call us to let us know so that we can contact the customer to let them know that we will fix it right away. If you see a sprinkler head lying on the ground like this one, it probably means that you broke it while mowing. Make sure and fix it before you leave so that you do not have to go back and waste a trip fixing it. If it was like that before you got there, call us and let us know so that we can let the customer know. This will help keep their grass from dying from lack of water, and it will also keep you from getting blamed for breaking it. It will also help to keep the customer happy, which will make your job easier. If anything is broken on the property when you get there, you need to take a picture, send it to us, and let us know so we can let the homeowner know. Otherwise, the homeowner will probably come home and blame us for breaking it. We are on their property more than anybody else. So they will not think of the electrician that was there that day, or the meter reader that was there that day, or maybe a plumber that was there that day. They will think the lawn guy broke it. If we can call them before they see it and get upset, they will have no problem having us fix it and pay us to do it. Also, during the summertime, broken sprinkler heads will cause the yard to die. During the summertime, if the yard goes even just 2 days without water, it can sometimes be unrepairable. The yard will have to be replaced. Keep up the good work, Hector. Good job. Great job keeping it out of the pool, Ryan. This is key. You want to make sure that when we are blowing around pools, you do not blow debris into the pool. And make sure and make it 100% obvious to anyone watching that it does not appear to even look like you are blowing debris into the pool. Homeowners get very upset. They pay lots of money to keep their pool clean. And if they even think that we are blowing debris into their pool, they will fire us.